you like spicy food, this one is for you. This is Korean spicy steak bowl, and it is easy to make. Start with the marinade, and here's how. Into a bowl, throw in some gochujang paste, followed by soybean paste. Then throw in minced garlic, diced onions, green onions, ginger paste, and some sesame oil. Mix everything together, then add a little bit of honey. That's your spicy marinade. And you can eat it as is, or also add them into some beautiful steaks. However, make sure you season them first, because as you saw it there, there's no salt on that marinade. So after adding the salt, apply the marinade. You can let this sit for a little bit and cook it traditionally, but I chose to do it sous vide. I cooked it at 135 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. Then I took it off and put a nice beautiful seasoning on it. And as you can see, I was left with a perfect medium rare steak. So into a plate with that beautiful steak, I added rice, green onions, and the leftover marinade. That is some delicious Korean spicy steak, and I do love it. Go make yourself some. You'll thank me later. Did you know that you can dry age your steaks at home and get them perfect just like this? I mean, look at it. It's delicious. And to do that, it's super easy. All you gotta do is use a special bag. And a lot of people like to call this a membrane. So after throwing in the special bag, all you have to do is to let it rest on your refrigerator for as long as you want. Usually for me, 35 days is good enough, because once you take it out, take a look. It's like a rock. However, when you grab your knife and you open it up, look at that. Perfection. Now there's left to do is to season it and put it on the grill. Because if you've never had dry-aged steak, now you know how. And by the way, it is 10 times better than the fresh steak. If you give it a try, I have a feeling you might thank me later. Have you ever seen a $350 filet mignon steak? Well, this is what it looks like. Now when you cook this, you better make sure you get it right. Trust me, you don't want to mess this one up. I just like to lightly season with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, nothing else. To ensure that I'm going to get a perfect medium rare in the middle, I like to cook it sous vide. If you don't know what that is, it's basically cooking in water. It's simply cooked at a very specific temperature. When you remove it from the sous vide, take a look at what it looks like. It's horrible, and that's all because it's missing a crust. You can choose to sear it in many different ways, but I just went with my flamethrower real quick, because check out what I was left with. Now that is perfect medium rare. It is the only way to have an expensive steak like this. If you like it well done, just don't buy this cut of meat. It will be a total waste. These are the largest steaks in the world. You see, they are 110 ounces each. It's basically a whole cow slice in half. But my main goal was to see if it tastes good. And since I had 2 of them, I went ahead and started with the seasoning. I kept it simple with salt, followed by freshly ground black pepper and garlic powder. Now since I have 2 of them, I decided to do an experiment. And that was to cook one on the grill, with the other one poached in butter. Yes, almost like deep fried the whole thing in butter and see how it was gonna taste. So I went ahead and started cooking them. And man, let me tell you something, this is a showstopper. It is fun to cook these things. And once the cooking was done, I went ahead and sliced it open. And as you can see, perfectly medium rare. Now I know what you're thinking, is it good? Well, after we tasted, this is what we thought.
Yeah, I think this is a steak for you to do kind of like a show, everybody. It's not a steak that is tender, wonderful flavor. No.
You're like a party.
You're like in a party and you want to cook a monster steak. Here we go. That should be a lot of fun.
You see this skinny baby back ribs right here? It costs 10 times more than regular baby back ribs. But you see, this ribs comes from a special pork, which is called iberico. To cook this, I treat it the same way as any other regular rib. I first removed the membrane, then to cook them faster, I sliced them up and removed every other bone. As you can see, they are super skinny. At least this way I'll get a little bit of meat in both sides. I lightly seasoned them with gugas rub and threw them in the smoker. Once they were done, this is what they look like. But of course, the important thing is how does it taste? And here's the differences. It's fattier, but there's no way I'll ever buy this again. It is not worth the hype. These are Mexican street corn, also known as elote. And to make it, it's so easy, let me show you. Start with good corn. If you can get them fresh, even better. Boil them for 10 minutes in a solution of water, milk, and butter. Depending on the corn, it might take a little bit longer or less. Just make sure that it's nice, tender, and fully cooked. This step is optional, but it makes it easy to eat. If you have some, just stick in some skewers right in the end. Use a culinary torch or a broiler in your oven, but get those corns nice and toasty. Then throw in some mayo and brush the whole thing. Add a good amount of cotija cheese. Parmesan is not the same. Then add this spice right here, it's called tahini. You can literally find it in every supermarket. Because once you have done so, your Mexican corn is done. These elotes are delicious, and I highly recommend. This is not your everyday boring corn. Let me show how easy it is to make it. Everything starts off with fresh corn. The first thing to do is to take out the husks. Oh yeah, because we're definitely not putting this in the microwave. Cut it in manageable pieces just like this. And you want to boil them in milk with a good amount of butter stuck that. Add it more into everything at the same time. Now that that's done, you need a little bit of char. So for that, I just like to torch it out. To finish it up, I melted some butter, and some jalapeno. Mix it well because my base for sauce was done. Now just add it to the corn as much as you want. Throw in some flaky salt and freshly ground black pepper, and your corn is done. Now this is really delicious. Highly recommend. If you don't know what this is, your life is about to be changed forever. It's called mushroom hot fried chicken. It is the best of the best. And to make it super easy, you just gotta first deep fry some chicken, then make a spice mix with a good amount of paprika, brown sugar, black pepper, garlic powder, cayenne, and salt. Mix everything together and throw that hot water in the chicken. It is done. All you have to do is to push it on the chicken. And is it good? Oh my god. It is the best chicken I've ever had. Go make yourself some real good. 花飞花满天。It's too easy to make. Here's how. Start by cooking the regular fries whichever way you prefer. Because the most important thing is to make the sauce. And that starts out with a whole stick of butter. Then add 1 tablespoon of garlic paste. Mix everything out until it's fully combined. Throw that butter around top of the fries. Then add a little bit of parsley and toss it around until those fries are coated. Because now you can eat it just like this. But if you want to take it to a whole new level, grate a little bit of Parmesan cheese right on top. It's just an easy way to elevate your regular fries. Go make yourself some. Forget what they doing, keep on doing that.